Alright, I've gone through and made this tutorial already, and my application crashed. So I'm going to go through, and instead of doing it all at once, I'm going to break it down into segments. And so the first one, I'm going to come through, and let's go ahead and create this one. So I'm going to trim this down, and I ripped a video off of YouTube, and now we are going to try to mimic these things. So this first one is this, the two lines come in, and then the logo comes in. And so, yeah, let's start with these lines. So let's go ahead and work on the area below it, and make sure we don't have a layer selected. And let's create a line that we're going to use. And I've already gone through and made this, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip to what I think the numbers were from before. I think I did 2 there. I'm going to undo that scale, and I'm going to put this at 185. And that gives us a nice thin line that's 2 pixels wide. And now let's move it to where I want it, and we're going to go ahead and duplicate this layer. I mean, it's 2 of them. And it starts to go into motion about right here. So let's go frame by frame and select the 2 layers, go to position, create a keyframe. Now, if you are not familiar with After Effects, I might go a little quick at some points where I feel comfortable. So you might want to watch some of VideoCopilot.net's videos and just kind of get an idea for how this kind of stuff works. So, ooh. Both of these anchor points I want to relocate. I wonder if I can do them both at the same time. Huzzah! No. So I'm going to do one at a time. So I'm going to delete one of them. And, what? Huh. Alright, I'm going to delete my anchor point, or my position changes, and I'm going to move that anchor point, because that is going to bug me later. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and recreate our position points and go back to, yeah, that's the last one. And so, and then it stops moving right here. And we'll create a duplicate. And let's go ahead and move these 2 apart. So I'm going to hold shift just so it goes in increments of 10 and roughly where we want it to go. And then this one goes to about right there. That'll be good. That opens up, and then we want it to close or start closing about right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy, paste. I missed the right click, and reverse keyframes, and same on this one. So what? Why is my anchor point? Let me go ahead and remove those. I don't want those. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste those in, and then reverse keyframes. Alright, so now it opens and it closes. And then big freaking logo. But let's worry about putting some text in there. Now, let's see. Our text should say text for you ... And I think I went with one of these. So let's see. I can't remember which one it was. There's one that kind of fit the feel a little bit. Maybe it's this guy. I don't know. This will allow me to make the text larger. Let's have some space in between. Scale it up some. Too much. And now I'm not going to worry about the typography for this because that's not what this video is about. So yeah, now we have the text and we want to have it reveal as it opens up. And we're going to do that by creating a mask. So let's right click, create mask, new mask, and let's go to press M twice, create a path, or a keyframe for the path. And that's when it comes to an end. So I'm gonna go ahead and extend these. Not what I meant to do, but that will be fine. Just let this aside. I'll move those to there. Let's see what happens. Now these, I want to close in upon themselves. It's pretty simple to create this kind of design because there's no motion blur, and you won't have to worry about seeing too much of the text before or after. So now that we have those where we want it, we can go ahead and close it back down, and we'll copy and paste those again, and then we'll reverse the keyframes. And there we go. Now let's ease those in and ease those out. And then we'll go in again and out because we're going out of a position and then into position. So all right, so there's that. And you could go in and manually do these little dots if you wanted to, but I'm not too concerned with it for this little tutorial. I'm not going to try to match that because it could come back to haunt me, and this is just a quick little thing. And I want to actually the first frame you start to see the text, first frame you start to see the text, I am going to have it actually become a visible layer then, and same with the last, because if you go in and look at his or whoever's text, when it's closed, you actually see a little bit of the lip right there, and then it disappears. So I wanted to avoid that, so I just remove the layer when I'm no longer needing it. And so let's do the scale for before and at the end of that. So let's go ahead and create a new null object, and I'm going to move this null object right where I want it because we're going to scale based on that position. So let's go ahead and take our two layers and nest it, or not nest it, parent it, and scaling starts right here. So we're going to go scale, and let's go to the first frame where it's visible and tell it to be 0, and then again at the end, and start scaling down here. And I don't believe the scale was the same speed, so I'm not going to copy the keyframes and reverse them. So I don't even know if I should even bother with easing those. But yeah, so now we have a big freaking logo come in, and let's see how we're going to do this. It looks like there's a expression, but it's hard to tell. Now there's expressions you can manually keyframe the scale on this to have it come to life. And if you notice these two little sticks that come in are just rotating and scaling, and then they ease into position. So we're not going to bother creating those, but we can create a big freaking logo. So let's do that now. Big freaking logo. And let's center it onto our area. Scale it up. Is that close to its size? Goodness, no. But that's fine. So now we'll have our logo come in, which it really just scales from the looks of it. So let's bring up scale, and about right, somewhere around there. We'll have that end our scale. So, sorry. And I made a mistake. I didn't move my anchor point, and so it kind of scales in a hunky-dory way, or a freaky way. All right. Oh, and I should move that over, to be honest with you, to match the position. All right, and so I'm going to grab an expression off the internet, and you can just Google After Effects expression inertia, and you should be pretty happy because these are amazing. I'm going to change the decay to an 8. Let's see if that Yeah, that works. If you don't change that to an 8, it goes on for way too long. So, yeah, look at it go. Does it ever stop? Probably. So let's change that to an 8. And all right, that wraps up our first one. So let's watch it from the beginning. All right, it's beautiful, isn't it? So beautiful. All right, so here's the next clip that we're gonna be. I'll try to explain. I'm actually gonna trim to work. There we go. And so there we go. That's what we're going to duplicate. Now I've already gone and done this once already, and so I'm just gonna start it when that text pops in. We're gonna start. So let's go to this point right there, and this little corner has served me well. So I'm going to track based on that. So I'm going to go add on my tracker, and we're going to track motion. And we want to relocate this bad boy right there. And make sure it knows what's up. And we'll go ahead and track forward to the end of the clip. There we go. Got our track points. So let's go ahead and create a new null object, and we are going to bind these points to that. And this is our first frame that we are tracking, and we want to edit target, null, apply. So now if we look under, did we do that right? Null, apply X and Y. There we go. So now if we go to position, we actually have a keyframe for each frame. So now let's add some text. So go ahead and add the text layer. And this is stuff. We're gonna take this stuff and we're gonna turn that black. Some black stuff. And I'm going to position it where I want it. And since this is the first frame, I might as well just start here. And let's go ahead and nest, or I keep saying that, let's parent our stuff layer into our null object. And I'm just putting the null on top, just out of habit. But yeah, so now it's tracked. That's all you had to do. It's pretty simple. So let's watch it. Look at that stuff. And you notice if you get a good key, or not key, if you get a good track, it sticks fairly well to the objects. Now if you notice the text in here, I don't know what they're tracking to, but there's a bit of a bounce that it's kind of shaky. And sometimes it's worth redoing the track or doing it a little bit manually so you don't get a little bit of that bounce there, but or cleaning it up. But yeah, that's stuff. All right, so this should be the last one. We have some milk here, and we're going to want to have it kind of slowly disappear as it hits the shadow here. And yeah, so let's create another text layer. This is probably the easiest one. So let's take some milk and we'll scale it up. Let's try to match the position of this stuff. Got some milk right there. And yeah, so it looks about right here. So it's just appearing and then the end of the frame. So it doesn't even finish all the way. But yeah, let's go ahead and create our mask that we're going to use. And we're going to use the pen tool because there's a little bit of a bend in there. So let's see. Something about like right here might work. And goodness, I think I messed that up. And want to extend that a little bit just so. All right, we'll invert it and we'll we'll figure out where this feather amount should be, because we don't want it to be showing up into the glass. Alright, I'm ready to animate it. So this is the beginning of it, so let's go ahead and select our path, create a keyframe, and move that Bad Mama Jamma up to about right there, and the movement's about right here. We'll move it to where we want it to be, and there we go. That was pretty simple. And yeah. Now if you ask me, that went pretty well. So now we can take all three of our little projects, drop it into another comp, and dang it. Let's watch it. Let's see if we did an alright job. Text for you. Big freaking logo. Stuff. Some milk. Alright. Well, I hope that that helps answer your questions. Pretty easy to do in After Effects, if you ask me. And yeah. Hope it was worth your time, because I did it 3 times because it kept locking up. But yeah, so alright, man. Hope you enjoy.